we'll sell you a subscription afterwards.
There was an instance at home where a prominent senator who had served in the Senate for 22 years, after he had lost his election and after he had called a judge racist, with garment styles and Supreme Court of Oklahoma found him innocent of all charges. When he left Oklahoma to go to Berkeley, the paper plastered all over the paper that Senator Porter leaves Oklahoma. I really don't find that news per se because he was not a senator anymore. He retired from the law, so really, what does the public need to know about him leaving Oklahoma that only concerns his family? I'm just wondering, where do you draw the line between what you consider news and what you consider private information?
I think we should draw it further out and put more gossip in, to tell you the truth. And I realize that's not at all what you think. I think that we worry too much about, oh dear, is it right to step on this guy's toes? And we catch hell for it. I mean, I was reading the other day about a Fairfield, California newspaper that had listed a drunken driving charge against a guy who was running for city council. Now, the drunken driving charge was previous to his campaign. And many people would feel that's just not right. He wasn't arrested. But the paper had put, not in a huge, big line story, but that so-and-so had been arrested for drunken driving. Well, they caught hell for it. Everybody wrote in and said, this is beyond the bounds of fair play. I think you should know that. I also think that many people will say that shouldn't keep him out of city council. I don't think it's our role to protect people and to be sure we're seen as not gossipy. I know that some of you need to leave, but I've been thinking a lot about this gossip thing because I don't want to be known as a gossip. I mean, we want to deal in substantive journalism. But I think if the main thing we do is say, oh God, I hope, people are always calling me and saying, you can't tell your rag from the National Enquirer, That's not the worst charge in the world. Let's give stuff to people. I mean, that doesn't mean that, we're going to be reporting Elvis sightings on the front page tomorrow. But we say that newspapers are just so unruly. I understand people may need to leave, but I just love this. In the speech I gave last weekend, I was thinking about this gossip charge. You really hit my button. and I found some old things. People say newspapers used to be much more decorous. Let me read this. This is from de Tocqueville. The class spirit of the French journalists consists in a violent but frequently an eloquent and lofty manner of discussing the great interests of the state, and the exceptions to this mode of writing are only occasional. The characteristics of the American journalist consist in an open and coarse appeal to the passions of his readers. He abandons principles to assail the characters of individuals, to track them into private life and disclose all their weaknesses and vices. Now, do I think that's great? It's not that I think that's great. I just think that's part of what we do in this country. You talk over the back fence, it's amazing how rich is the discourse over the back fence. And I guarantee you that 90% of the people who call me up and say, well, I just think it's terrible that you put this alleged extramarital infidelity in the paper, go home and say to their husbands or wives, did you hear about X? I think we need to admit that, and I think we need to try to get beyond it. Do I think that's the most important thing? No. But do I think I should protect you from that information lest you make an unwise decision? Absolutely not. So you can tell I don't mean to dump on you, but I get that all the time. People say, you just turned the Des Moines Register a terrible rag, I think we should really of course we have to make responsible decisions and we shouldn't be libelous, but we shouldn't be so timid and fearful. We got to go ahead and we need to care what people think, what they think about, but on any given day, we just must not care too much what one irate phone caller thinks of us. I have to keep telling myself that. Thank you.